Hello. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about starting a new book series, Leo Tolstoy by sorry, War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. Um, so the what we're going to try to do is let's see. So let's just begin with chapter one. I think that there is something at the way beginning. Let me see if we can get to that. Yeah, maybe there isn't. Okay, let me see if I can find it. 9.8. Okay, so we're 9.8. I'll go to page 1 again and see whether we can find something. So we got begin with War and Peace. Um, and I guess there isn't. I was hoping for, sometimes it says something about all families. Okay, there isn't. Okay. Yeah, I think Leo Tolstoy said something like all happy families are alike. Each unhappy family is unhappy in its own way. So there might be a forward, and I always like to read some forward here. Um, Let me look again. Chapter 1. Well, Prince, so Genoa and Lucca are now just family states of the Bonaparte. But I warn you, if you don't tell me that this means war, if you still try to defend the infamies and horrors perpetrated by that Antichrist, I really believe he is Antichrist. I will have nothing more to do with you, and you're no longer my friend, no longer my faithful slave, as you call yourself. But how do you do? I see I frightened you. Sit down and tell me all the news. It was in July 1805, and the speaker was a well-known Anna Pavlovna Scherer, maid of honor and favorite of the Empress Maria Feodorovna. With these words she greeted Prince Vasily Kurágin, a man of high rank and importance, who was the first and to arrive at her reception. Anna Pavlovna had had a cough for some days. She was, as she said, suffering from a grippe, grippe being then a new word in St. Petersburg, used only by the elite. All her invitations, without exception, written in French, and delivered by a scarlet-livered livered footman that morning ran as follows: "If you have nothing better to do, Count or Prince, and if the prospect of spending an evening with a poor invalid is not too terrible, I shall be very charmed to see you to-night between 7 and 10. Annette Scherer." "Heavens, what a virulent attack!" replied the Prince, not in the least disconcerted by this reception. He had just entered, wearing embroidered court uniform, knee-breeches and shoes, and had stars on his breast and a serene expression on his flat face. He spoke in that refined French in which our grandfathers not only spoke but thought, and with the gentle, patronizing intonation natural to a man of importance who had grown old in society and at court. He went to Anna Pavlovna, kissed her hand, presenting to her his bald, scented, and shining head, and presently seated himself in the sofa. "First of all, dear friend, tell me how you are. Set your friend's mind at rest," said he, without altering his tone, beneath a politeness and affected sympathy of which indifference and even irony could be discerned. "Can one be well without suffering morally? Can one be calm in times like this, if one has any feeling?" said Anna Pavlovna. "You're staying the whole evening, I hope." "And the fete at the English ambassador's? To-day's Wednesday. I must put an appearance there," said the Prince. "My daughter's coming for me to take me there." "I thought today's fete had been cancelled. I confess all these festivities and fireworks are becoming wearisome." "If they had known that you wished it, the entertainment would have been put off," said the Prince, who, like a wound-up clock, by force of habit said things he did not even wish to be believed. "Don't tease. Well, and what has been decided about Novoseltsev dispatch? Novoseltsev 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 dispatch. You know everything. Novoseltsev 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 dispatch. You know everything." "What can one say about it?" replied the Prince in a cold, listless tone. "What has been decided? They have decided that Bonaparte has burnt his boats, and I believe we are ready to burn ours." Prince Vasily always spoke languidly, like an actor repeating a stale part. Anna Pavlovna Scherer, on the other contrary, despite her 40 years, overflowed with animation and impulsiveness. To be an enthusiast had become her social vocation, and sometimes even when she did not like it she became enthusiastic in order not to disappoint the expectation of those who knew her. The subdued smile which, though it did not suit her faded features, always played round her lips expressed, as a spoiled child, a continual consciousness of her charming defect, which she neither wished nor could, nor considered it necessary to correct. In the midst of a conversation on political matters, Anna Pavlovna burst out: "Oh, don't speak to me of Austria. I don't understand things, but Austria never has wished and does not wish for war. She is betraying us. Russia alone must save Europe. Our gracious sovereign really realizes his high vocation and will be true to it. That is one thing I have faith in. Our good and wonderful sovereign has to perform the noblest role on earth, and he is so virtuous and noble that God will not forsake him. He will fulfill his vocation and crush the hydra of revolution, which has become more terrible than ever in the person of this murderer and villain. We alone must avenge the blood of the just one. Uh, I ask you, can we rely on England? With her commercial spirit will not and cannot understand the European emperors Alexander Luffness or so. She has refused to evacuate Malta. She wanted to find it, to still seeks some secret motive in her actions. What answer did Novosibirsk get? None. The English have not understood and cannot understand the self-abnegation of our emperor, who wants nothing for himself but only desires the good of mankind. And what have they promised? Nothing. And what little have they promised they will not perform. Prussia has always declared that Bonaparte is invincible, and that all Europe is powerless before him. I don't believe a word that Hindenburg says, or Haugwitz either. This famous Prussian neutrality is just a trap. I have faith only in God and the lofty destiny of our dark monarch. He will save Europe. She suddenly paused, smiling at her own impetuosity. "I think," the prince said with a smile, "that if you had been sent instead of our dear Bucheneggerode, you would have captured the King of Prussia's consent by assault. You're so eloquent. Will you give me a cup of tea?" "In a moment. Apropos," she added, becoming calm again, "I'm expecting two very interesting men tonight. Le Vicomte de Montemart, who is connected with the Montmorencys through the Rohans, one of the best French families. He's one of the genuine émigrés, the good ones, and also the Abbé Morio. Do you know that profound thinker? He has been received by the Emperor. Had you heard?" "I shall be delighted to meet them," said the prince. "But tell me," he added with studied carelessness, as if it only had just occurred to him, though the question he was about to ask was the chief motive of his visit, "is it true that the dowager, 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 dowager princess, dowager empress, dowager empress was once Baron Funk to be appointed first secretary of Vienna?